Welcome back to more stories. I hope you've been keeping well. The timestamps are in the description box. Let's get right to it. Story number 1. Opie writes, Female 27 and my boyfriend, male 32, have been dating for almost 5 years. We were co-workers, so that's how we met. At first, it wasn't that serious. We were just casually dating until one day we just clicked. Those years have been the happiest years of my life, and I wouldn't change them for nothing. Everything was great. Until one day he started making some comments about my physical appearance. Nothing too crazy, like, quote, "Oh, you would look dazzling in this if you just lose a few pounds," unquote. Or, quote, "I just think you eat too much sugar. Why don't you choose a salad instead?" unquote. At the time, I thought it was a sweet comment, so I did follow his advice. Then he told me that maybe being blonde would suit me, and I just did. Dyed my hair the color he suggested me. When my hair was long enough, he told me to cut it. Quote, "Honey, I just know that this cut is for you," unquote. And I again did it. I changed my wardrobe, my nails, even my lifestyle just to please him. It wasn't until last month I went to visit my parents. They told me I looked completely different, which I thought it was a compliment. It was, but with a slight worrying connotation. I didn't think too much of it until my friends told me I looked like a new person. I told them it was just thanks to my boyfriend, and everyone just stared at me. One of them, after that, wanted to talk to me about this. He was worried about me, but I said I was fine. For him, it just looked like my boyfriend was changing me into something I wasn't. That annoyed me, and I just left. That was stuck in my head all week, and I became distant. Of course, my boyfriend realized I was upset, so he asked what was wrong. I told him, and he just said that because I am prettier than before, I should thank him for it. I agreed and moved on. So, a few days ago, my boyfriend posted a photo on his Instagram story. He was with a blonde, tall, and really beautiful woman, hugging each other with the caption being, quote, "Glad we could see each other again," unquote. When he comes back home, I asked him who his friend was, and he just ignores me. I asked again, and he says it's none of my business. The week goes by with him sharing photos of his reunions with this woman. I was done, and when I finally confronted him, he admitted she was his ex. But I would be an insecure witch if I get annoyed by that. I just stood there and didn't say anything. I went to talk with a friend. I was feeling lonely and I asked her for advice. She asked me for the girl's Instagram account. I didn't have it, so when we found her, she looked horrified. I asked, "What is it?" and she told me, quote, "You two look pretty much alike," unquote. I said it was BS, but my friend kept comparing us. I came back to the house and avoided him all the time. He didn't care and continued with his day. Meanwhile, I was comparing her photos to mine, and we do look identical. I don't know what to say or do. I just don't want to think anymore. Opie, it's one thing for somebody to want their partner to improve him or herself and to help them do that. It's another thing to want to change somebody into a completely different person. And the other thing about this story is that your boyfriend's attitude towards you changed after he reunited with his ex. So there is a problem there. That is affecting your relationship for sure. And you're not an insecure witch for being upset about that. That's a mind game. But let's get to the comments and see what other people think. He couldn't have her, so he made a little copy he could play with. But now she's back and he doesn't need you. Let's be honest here. You changed your entire person to suit him. That's not a healthy relationship. What changes did he make for you? I'm guessing none. It's time to change their hair and lose the mini-me look and go back to who you were before and kick that loser to the curb. Someone else comments, "You have been emotionally abused and manipulated into believing that you needed to change for him. The things he said to you were never okay, and it proves that he never cared about you, only recreating her. You deserve to be free of him and to have your own identity." And a final comment. Where do you girls find these garbage? And why the heck am I single while I really am ready to treat a woman like a queen? There is so much wrong with this world. Your, quote, boyfriend, unquote, has someone who would do anything to please him, and yet he doesn't value that. Story 2. Opie writes about his wife. It never fails. Either we go out literally every weekend day or, quote, we never go out, unquote, and she mopes. And when we do go out, it's never less than $250 both days. Today, for example, we drove into the city to say hi to a friend, and I made the mistake of saying, quote, hey, where should we go for lunch, unquote. Of course, she picks an incredibly expensive restaurant. Of course, she picks literally the most expensive items on the menu. Of course, she orders 2 of their $20 signature cocktails and doesn't finish them. And of course, we go to a second place for a $60 dessert. It's so annoying. And of course, I'm, quote, cheap, unquote. Obviously, I'm the problem because this car can't have any brakes, only gas. It's like she hates money. And of course, she doesn't have a job. And I hate that I see it as her burning, quote, my, unquote, money. It shouldn't be, quote, my, unquote, money and, quote, her, unquote, money. But she's going through $1,000+ a month on luxuries and going out. And of course, she wants to travel every year. Not like cheap European trips either. Next year, we're going to Japan. We aren't. We won't be able to afford it. This year, we were able to go to Morocco with a tour. $7,000 each. With the help of weekly fights about money. There is no winning. I've tried talking to her about it. I tried showing her how much she spends by saying, quote, when we go out and do something you want, we can keep track by using your credit card, and that's all it will be used for, unquote. But she hasn't stuck to that. I don't need advice. I'm not asking for help. I just want to vent in a place where it won't cause a huge argument. But for heaven's sake, can she spend money? It doesn't even matter how much I make. She keeps pace with it, finding new BS to spend money on. Like, holy crap. Well, Opie, there were a number of people in the comments that were speculating that perhaps you married for looks. Perhaps you got yourself a trophy wife and now she's burning through your money. It kind of sounds like that's a real possibility. But let's get to those comments. My dude, read this again. Very slowly. You're being used as an ATM. Someone else comments, she's draining you, and once you're out, she'll say you're broke and leave you. You've already talked about it, and she wouldn't listen. So tell her you want out if she doesn't change. Someone else comments, she sounds like my ex. One time, I took some work out of town for 6 months because she had dug me into a financial hole. When I came back, I found her almost 5 months pregnant. Not mine, by the way. Needless to say, I divorced her, and I'm glad I did. And a final comment. Sucks to be you, I guess. People treat you how you allow them to, so if anything is going to change, it starts with you. I know if I was her, I wouldn't change. Not having to work and get the stuff I want? Sign me up. That's a joke because my own self-respect would not allow someone to carry all my burdens for me, and my respect for my partner would not allow me to treat them as a walking wallet. Story 3. Opie writes, I don't effing believe it. I'm starting to regret ending my loveless, sexless marriage. I got divorced about a year ago, and I've been on Tinder for a month now. Went for walks and coffee a few times. One guy was nice and pleasant. After a few dates, we ended up in my apartment. When he took a shower afterwards, he came back to bed and commented that I had so many perfumes and only expensive ones, and we laughed about how smelly I must be to have all these perfumes. We went to bed, had breakfast the day after, and he left. That was yesterday. When I was cleaning the bathroom later, 3 of my perfumes were missing. I was shocked. I looked everywhere and after about 2 hours I realized they were gone. I know he took them because I used one of them before he came to our date. So I know they were there and nobody visited before or after. Now he texts asking how my day was and if I wanted to see him again. I guess the perfumes he took, worth $1,200, weren't enough and he wants back for more. Is this dating now? My new life? I've been out of order for over 15 years. And now it feels like I've entered a new dimension. Please, someone tell me this is going to get better. Edit. I'm not interested in getting back my perfumes or meeting him in any shape or form. I'm just ranting about my first date in over 15 years going this bad. Also, I was joking about regretting my divorce. I just find this whole thing laughable and a bit scary actually. Edit 2. Also, stop creeping in my DMs to ask me to send you money. At least take me for a walk and a coffee first and some mediocre intimacy. Well, OP, after 15 years and now you're on Tinder, it's going to be a bit of an adventure and misadventure a lot of the time, I think. Let's get some comments. He's going to smell fabulous on the next date. Someone else writes, I know how that goes. You can meet someone on there. Just don't jump into anything and take your time. You might have better luck meeting someone through your friends. I met my current girlfriend on there, but I had a lot of bad dates before that. If you're lucky, you can strike up a conversation at a place like a coffee shop. Someone else writes, he probably has another girl he steals cash from. A girl who lets him borrow her fancy car, another girl where he goes when he's hungry, and a dude where he steals clothes from. Well, OP, good luck to you. It sounds like you've got a sense of humor, and I guess that's the only way to handle things like this. Well, that's it for this edition, and thank you for joining me. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Take care of yourself. Bye.